Good evening, I'm Ian Hannamansing. Tonight, on the anniversary of an iconic speech,
I have a dream.
a call for change again draws crowds to the American Capitol.
We need a new conversation.
How Black Lives Matter could shape the U.S. presidential election.
We should have somewhat of a standardized approach to this in Canada.
A spike in COVID cases triggers mandatory masks outdoors in Paris. Should Canada have a similar rule?
Her risk and her bubble becomes just exponentially larger.
Anxious parents weigh the risks of before and after school childcare. And looking for you to fly again.
We're putting teeth into Transport Canada's policy.
We sit down with WestJet's top executive. This is The National. On the anniversary of a famous speech by the most famous leader of the 1960s civil rights movement, thousands in Washington added to Dr. Martin Luther King's calls for racial justice with urgent calls of their own. Among the speakers, the father of Jacob Blake, the man shot by police this past Sunday, and the brother of George Floyd, who died under the knee of a police officer in May. King's rally was called the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. This rally's title, Get Your Knee Off Our Necks. And Susan Ormiston shows us that was not the only message.
Black lives matter, but black votes matter too, especially now. Thousands of Black Americans marched and rallied in the U.S. Capitol, enraged and invigorated by this summer of strife.
Janetta, why did you come today?
Oh, to be a part of history. This is my first march on Washington, so I just want to put my stamp on history and leave a legacy for my son of how important it is to be involved.
In the season, which began with George Floyd's murder and ended with the police shooting of Jacob Blake, Black Americans are saying enough is enough.
I'm so overwhelmed right now with everybody's here right now. I wish George were here to see this right now.
The Floyd family still struggling 3 months after his death.
All of the protesting and all of the rallies and just everybody uniting, I think that'll make the change we need.
Today is the 57th anniversary of Martin Luther King's famous I Have a Dream speech right here. Many in this crowd believe that the dream he shared has not been realized.
We want equality. We want what America has promised us for years, but has never delivered on.
Never let America forget.
Civil rights activist Reverend Al Sharpton invoked the frustration.
We need to have a conversation about your racism, about your bigotry, about your hate, about how you would put your knee on our neck.
And called out Trump's silence on Blake's shooting.
We will speak against the looting, but when will you speak against wrong police shooting?
There were attempts at social distancing, and nearly all wore masks. Still, the largest gathering in America since the pandemic did raise fears of spread. But for those in the shadow of Dr. King, this summer's momentum could not be squandered. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Washington.
Jacob Blake is paralyzed from the waist down, but until today, he was still handcuffed to his hospital bed because of outstanding warrants for his arrest. Those are now gone, and so too are the handcuffs. Also today, police released their version of what happened in Kenosha, Wisconsin on Sunday, including that they used stun guns to stop Blake before shooting him, and more National Guard troops have been deployed in the city. For most demonstrators, it is about justice, but Donald Trump is casting them all as rioters and looters, threatening the American dream. As Katie Simpson explains, he's speaking to a key demographic, hoping fear will turn into votes.
No one will be safe in Biden's America. I can't even call it Biden's America.
And so, the president picked right up where he left off last night, ripping into his Democratic challenger and demonstrators who may support him.
Protesters, you know what I say? Protesters, your ass.
This is Donald Trump leaning into his preferred ballot box issue. Which candidate will keep Americans safe?
The race is tightening up, and I think it's tightening up largely because of the focus that cannot be ignored on the unrest and violence in the cities.
It's a pitch aimed in part at suburban women voters, drumming up fears violent protests could end up at their doorstep.
I would continue to hammer that issue, and hammer home the law and order message, saying that he's going to restore some kind of law and order in the cities, not just because it's good politics, but because this is getting really unsafe.
Trump needs to motivate women voters. They did not show up for the Republican Party in the midterm elections the same way they did for Trump in 2016.
The biggest problem for Trump's reelection right now, it's the gender gap. I mean, he's winning men slightly in this country, but he's losing women by 20 points.
Though longtime Republicans are unsure if this law and order messaging is a winning strategy.
I think what we're seeing on our television screens, both in terms of the police interactions with people like Floyd and Blake, plus what we're seeing on our screens with the violence in the cities, I think people are still processing it. It's raw, it's emotional, and I think it's really hard to know how this is going to move the electorate.
Joe Biden has condemned the violent protests and accuses Trump of rooting for destruction because it helps him politically. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Washington.
The remnants of Hurricane Laura are expected to hit the Maritimes tomorrow, but today, those already hit by the storm are inspecting the damage. Hundreds of thousands returning home, finding themselves deprived of two necessities.
Water and electricity is out, and you should expect it to be out for weeks.
Laura snapped scores of power poles and hundreds of trees. The Category 4 storm blamed for at least 14 fatalities in Texas and Louisiana. This was one of the many communities in Laura's path, Lake Charles, Louisiana. And that is where Stephen D'Souza is again tonight. And Stephen, tell us what people there are up against.
You know, without any power and with no water, a number of hospitals and nursing homes had to be evacuated, patients taken to other facilities, and officials are telling people not to come to this area because of those infrastructure problems, but so many people are still coming back to see just what they have left.
See, there's his desk. That wall got blown out and the awning out there.
The only light in Mary Fluid's bedroom right now is from the holes in the ceiling and where one wall used to be. She and her husband rode out the storm at a funeral parlor where he used to work. They returned to find their trailer and so many in their community ripped and torn apart by Hurricane Laura's fury.
We didn't think it was going to be this bad, really. But the carport's gone, everything's gone that we had built, added on, you know. It's just devastating. We don't have no water, no electricity.
More than 200,000 people across southwest Louisiana are without power. About the same are without running water. Stephen Bradley Saunders rode out the storm at home with his wife and two small children.
I'll never do it again.
With no power and no water, he's considering leaving to go stay with relatives.
Right now, like I said, all I got is the one generator, and I can either A, run my refrigerator, or I can run my table saw, and I can't do both.
The search for power has led to tragedy. At least 4 people are dead from carbon monoxide poisoning from using a generator indoors. With stores a mess, restaurants shut down, local officials are asking the thousands who fled the storm and want to return to their homes to look, then leave. Many roads are still inaccessible. This crew drove in from Central Florida to help. They estimate the recovery here will be measured in years, not months.
This is one of the worst ones I've seen. I've only rode around a quarter of the neighborhood, and I'm booked out for the next 2 months.
For many here, Hurricane Rita in 2005 is still fresh in their minds and gives them confidence that they can come back.
15 years ago that this happened, you know, and we rebuild then, we're going to rebuild again, you know. That's what we do in Lake Charles.
And Stephen, of course, all of this happening during a pandemic. How have the state's efforts to slow the virus been affected?
Well, Ian, they actually put their public testing on hold as a result of the storm. And the governor says they're going to bring that back on Monday. But his bigger concern is that with so many people in this area, which was considered a bit of a hot spot, with so many people fleeing to other parts of the state to escape the storm, even going, to Texas as well, the concern is that those people may have carried the virus with them and that could have increased the spread. So it's just yet another thing that people here have to worry about on top of everything else.
Stephen D'Souza in Lake Charles, Louisiana tonight. The federal government is extending travel restrictions for at least another month to try to limit the spread of COVID-19. Anyone coming into Canada will still have to quarantine for 14 days. But today there was some serious talk about something that could slash that time. Carolyn Dunn explains.
After hours on an international flight, these travelers will now head off to 14 days of quarantine. But what if they could simply be tested for COVID on arrival? And if negative, cut that quarantine to perhaps 2 days.
I do think if you're not, showing symptoms, it might be an idea to let people test out of quarantine.
I would stick to the 14 days quarantine rather than the 48 hours, because I believe the 48 hours is not enough for someone to know whether or not they had the virus.
Nobody wants to sit in the house all day for 14 days. Like, I got work, I work, I got to be able to pay my bills and stuff.
Canada's chief public health officer confirmed testing at airports is being looked into.
How we apply testing in that context is being actively explored.
COVID has wreaked havoc on the airline industry, which is looking for any solutions to get people flying again. WestJet says it will begin a pilot project in Vancouver to voluntarily test passengers from certain departing flights,
so that we can demonstrate its robustness, because there is little point doing pre-flight testing or even post-flight testing unless we can convince the chief medical officers and the public health authorities that that's actually adding value.
And that's what these air travel COVID trials are for. Data, data, and more data. But already experts worry passenger testing won't give an accurate picture.
So that means we pick up about 70% of the cases. So therefore, we're going to miss 30% of them. And then once somebody has a negative test, the thought is, I'm good, I'm clear, so I can do whatever I want.
But for now, you have to quarantine for 14 days, whether you like it or not. Carolyn Dunn, CBC News, Calgary.
With school reopenings just around the corner in most of the country, those providing before and after school childcare are scrambling to get ready in the face of COVID-19. And parents are facing a choice that is creating anxiety. Deanna Sumanag-Johnson explains.
The decision to send their 7-year-old back to school wasn't the only tough choice Christine Enns and her husband had to make.
We have decided that we won't send her to her after-school program.
Their reasoning? Too few rules, too much exposure.
Her after-school program includes kids from other schools and other programs, so then her risk and her bubble becomes just exponentially larger.
I don't like tomatoes.
Oh, come on.
Enns is one of many Canadians who depend on before or after school care for their children. The back-to-school puzzle piece, many say, has been neglected.
When their children are in childcare, there's a whole different set of rules than when their children are in school.
The issue with many before and after school programs is that they often mix children of different ages as well as from different schools.
I hear what you're saying, mixing the groups of kids, but I know the minister has worked diligently with the boards, and each board is going to come out with their own plan.
And it is.
But Amy O'Neill says there's not exactly been a plan.
Although they say that we operators and school boards must make very best efforts to have cohorting in place, it's not a mandate or it's not a directive.
This public health doctor says there are still things before and after school programs can do to minimize risk.
Again, you can try to keep a consistent group of children through the year. So that's what programs are being encouraged to do, that you have their names, you know exactly who they're going to be in contact with in that group. It's a consistent group with consistent staff.
That, of course, may require more space and more staff, meaning more funding. Something parents and childcare operators hope may be helped by the newly announced federal investment in back-to-school safety. Deanna Sumanag-Johnson, CBC News, Toronto.
In Quebec, more than 20 teachers are now in self-isolation after 2 staff members tested positive for COVID-19 at a high school west of Montreal.
The main problem was the teacher's room, which are small rooms. People had some meals together.
About 500 students were told to stay home today because there weren't enough staff to teach them. They'll return to school Monday if replacements can be found. This is the second day back in class for thousands in the province. British Columbia set a new daily record with 124 new COVID-19 cases reported in the last 24 hours. Hospitalizations have also crept up to their highest level since early June. That number is 23, 7 of them in intensive care. There has been an upward trend in recent weeks of new cases among people under the age of 40, the vast majority concentrated in and around the Metro Vancouver area. British Columbia now has 974 active cases. That is also a record high. Manitoba continues to see a rise in COVID-19, 32 new cases today, bringing the total number of active cases to 418. About 1/3 of those are linked to communal groups, including Hutterite colonies. Karen Pauls looks at the impact of the disease inside one of them.
24 hours after Tirza Mandel's isolation ended, she's back at work, cleaning windows and doing graphic design projects.
This is where I work out of.
For the last 2 weeks, she, her 2 sisters, and parents were quarantined after her mother tested positive for COVID-19.
Neither she nor we had any kind of symptoms. It was quite a shock.
Mandel chronicled the experience on social media, rejoicing when the rest of the family got their negative test results.
We had a day of hiking and biking, and I think we ended up doing, 66K in a day? And it was a therapy day for us.
One of the hardest parts was when children wanted to visit.
They just yelled over, "Tirza, do you have COVID at your house?" And I said, "Yeah, we do." And then they yelled back, "We can't come over."
The communal kitchen was shuttered. Families ate at home. And one of the most fundamental parts of the Hutterite identity, worshiping together, stopped, replaced by a church service piped into homes over a PA system. Some believe the outbreaks began after the drowning of 3 teenage girls in Alberta in June. People from other provinces went to help search and then attend the funerals.
We were dealing with the illusion that because our communities are isolated to an extent geographically and secluded, that equates to COVID-resistant status.
But when people started dying,
that reality set in really quick and helped break through some of the barriers.
Tirza Mandel is glad to be out of isolation.
So it's nice today to be back to normal.
But school and the harvest are about to begin, communal activities that will increase the risk once again. Karen Pauls, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Now to a criminal case that has haunted British Columbians for more than a decade. Nearly 13 years ago, Jamie Bacon directed a gangland hit that left 6 people dead, the so-called Surrey Six. Today, he faced some of the loved ones of the people who were killed. Susanna De Silva was in the Vancouver courtroom.
I wanted to look at Mr. Bacon in his eyes to let him know that, he walked to my doorstep and stole my son's life.
She has waited 13 years for that chance, and today Eileen Mohan got it.
I had to make him sit and listen to every detail of our lives.
Her son Christopher was killed after a chance meeting in a hallway in front of their apartment. 3 men were on their way to kill Mohan's neighbor over a dispute with drug dealer Jamie Bacon. Mohan was pulled into the apartment. Another man, Ed Schellenberg, a gas fitter, happened to already be there making repairs. They, along with 4 others, were shot to death. After pleading guilty to multiple charges, today Jamie Bacon, the man who directed the killings, appeared at a sentencing hearing. For close to an hour, Eileen Mohan told the court in painful detail the loss and guilt she feels every day. I wish I had a longer breakfast with Christopher, a longer conversation before I left home. I wish I had not gone to work. I hate myself for bringing Christopher into this world, all the pain I caused him. He would have been saved from this horrible death. And directly to Jamie Bacon, she said, "Just how dare you touch my baby? Who do you think you are to decide who lives and who dies?" It's taken years to get here. As part of a plea deal, the Crown is recommending 18 years. With time served, he could be out in 5. Mohan's mother has a message for the judge.
I wanted her to understand that Christopher still matters, and Christopher still lives in spirit with us.
The sentence will be announced in September. Susanna De Silva, CBC News, Vancouver.
Nova Scotia's Supreme Court has found a former Halifax taxi driver guilty of sexual assault.
When you come forward and you are honest and you tell the truth about violence that happens to you, you can make a difference.
Bassem Al-Rawi was accused of the rape of a female passenger in 2012. She said she was assaulted while highly intoxicated and pretended to be unconscious. She reported the assault right away, but Halifax police didn't lay charges. Al-Rawi was acquitted in another sexual assault in 2017, which sparked national outrage after the judge said, quote, "Clearly a drunk can consent." In Paris tonight, masks are now mandatory even when you're outdoors. A spike in new cases triggered the change. Next, should Canada have a similar threshold? An exclusive interview with WestJet CEO on the future of flying in a pandemic.
For those guests who still feel that somehow getting on an aircraft is more worrying than going to the local supermarket, times have changed.
And street racing takes off thanks to COVID-19. Can police put on the brakes? We're back in 2.
People can now return to work. It's safe to do so because there are just things which are impossible to do from home.
The British government is urging people to return to offices and workplaces, saying COVID-19 is basically under control. This as its daily case count remains above 1,000. The UK recorded almost 1,300 new confirmed infections today, but Spain's was higher, more than 3,800, and France recorded over 7,000 today, the highest since March. France is desperate to avoid shutting down again, and with fears of a second wave, it's getting more aggressive on prevention, especially in Paris. Renee Filipponi looks at its new mask policy.
If you're outside in Paris, it's now mandatory to mask up, even if you can stay far apart. I know it's not pleasant to speak, understand, or breathe, says this woman, but it's necessary. It's the new normal, but that doesn't mean everyone likes it. I feel like we're under a guardianship, says this man, who calls it a dictatorship of masks. The COVID surge is happening right across France. The number of red zones where the virus is active has risen from 2 to 21. Our objective is clearly to do everything to avoid a nationwide lockdown, says the French Prime Minister. In Germany this weekend, police are preparing for a repeat of this. Thousands of people in the streets of Berlin protesting COVID restrictions earlier this month. We must expect things to get more difficult in the coming months, says Chancellor Angela Merkel. She's raising concerns about what will happen when more people are inside again for work and school. The German government is also urging people to stop traveling to high-risk countries. There are similar moves across Europe. The Czech Republic is one of a number of countries to be put on the UK's red list, meaning travelers returning from there will have to quarantine. The World Health Organization says governments need to continue shifting policies.
They do have to do that to get more precise in their measures, that they're also able to communicate them so people understand why something is happening, they understand the purpose of that.
As the virus gains ground across Europe, its impact on everyday life is visible through the measures being taken to try and slow it down. Renee Filipponi, CBC News, London.
Canada only records a fraction of the case rate that triggered Paris's new mask rule, but what could it take to make wearing a mask outdoors mandatory across this country? Christine Burak looks into that.
Paris crossed a red line in COVID cases, 50 infections per 100,000 people. But here in Canada, there is no set line, just discretion, place by place.
It's not a sort of straight number game. So absolutely look at transmission in your community.
Masks are now mandatory outdoors in the city of Brandon, Manitoba after a recent outbreak. And tourist hotspot Banff, Alberta did the same back in July, following a surge in untraceable cases.
But certainly we should have somewhat of a standardized approach to this in Canada.
Some public health experts insist it makes sense that when a city has a prescribed threshold of cases, added layers of protection should kick in, including masking outdoors.
I think having a clear trigger as to when such policy is indicated will make it a lot easier to communicate this important public health intervention message to the general public.
She adds big cities like Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal should consider mandatory masking outdoors based on population density alone and people simply clustering together. Hand washing and physical distancing are still considered the first lines of defense against COVID-19. But Canada's top doctor says Canadians should wear masks outdoors if others get too close for comfort.
But even outdoors, I would say, are you able to control that environment to make sure that people are not sort of crowded together?
While Canada may not have a red line now, no one's ruling out the possibility. Christine Burak, CBC News, Toronto.
Next, our exclusive interview with WestJet's CEO. Think back, if you can, it seems like forever, 7 months ago, what your airline was like then. Do you think you're going to get back to that? His thoughts on the future of the airline, making sure passengers wear their masks, and what he says to Canadians still too nervous to fly. COVID has hit the airline industry hard, sending revenues plummeting. The National Airline Council of Canada says its members have suffered at least a 90% drop in earnings. The challenge for airlines now, trying to survive. Not just making flying safe, but convincing Canadians it is. As we first reported yesterday, WestJet is going to ban for a year any passengers who refuse to wear masks on their flights unless they have a medical exemption.
Here's what you can expect before you board your flight.
And that's part of a strategy to try to make more people comfortable with the idea of getting back on planes. Hello?
Hello, Ian.
Do you like what I've done with the space here?
It's a beautiful space. I particularly like the backdrop.
Yeah. In his first major interview since May, WestJet CEO Ed Sim sat down with me at Vancouver International Airport to talk about how his airline will try to recover from the pandemic. Thank you very much for doing this.
Pleasure. Thank you.
We are 5.5 months into the pandemic, and I can't think of an industry that's been hit harder than aviation. What's the state of WestJet right now?
The state of WestJet is still in recovery mode. We're still restoring services that we've grounded. We're still adjusting to the fact that we've had to lay off a large number of fantastic staff, which has been a huge cultural shock for us. But we're now in planning mode. We're looking out at the next 6 months during the fall and winter and anticipating that Canadians are moving from wanting to travel to when we get into winter and they're going to need to travel. And we're going to make sure that we've got services available for them, and looking forward to getting more of these aircraft back up in the air.
I'm sure people listening, though, or at least some of the people listening, are saying to themselves that they may be feeling reluctant to even go to the local mall and maybe can't imagine themselves getting on a plane. What do you say to them?
So the number one objective that we have over the next 6 months is reassurance. It's reassurance of the millions of dollars we've spent on protective gear. Reassurance about the fact that we what we call electrically statically fog every single aircraft post its journey time. We are looking at processes like ultraviolet cleaning. We're looking at ionization. Every passenger coming through the airport now is having a temperature check, and of course masks are mandatory. So I think for those guests who still feel that somehow getting on an aircraft is more worrying than going to the local supermarket, times have changed.
Let's talk about the mask policy. Masks have been mandatory in Canada for some time now. So what's different with this new WestJet policy?
Any guests who decide that they are simply, for whatever reason, not going to wear their mask unless they have very clear exemption from their physician, from their doctor, we will be saying to them, you need to have this mask on for the duration of the journey. In the event that they ignore a first warning not to comply, they will face suspension from travel. And that's the big change. We're putting teeth into Transport Canada's policy to say, in line with our trade association IATA, if you choose to act in a way that's not in the interests of those guests sitting around you, it's like choosing not to wear a seatbelt. There is no compelling logic to say that people shouldn't be wearing masks in an enclosed environment.
So I just want to clarify, though, because I also think some people might not understand exactly the distinction between what was the case and what will be the case. I mean, masks were required before, so why is this new policy different?
We want to make sure that we don't put our crew, my colleagues, in an awkward position of being unclear on what their obligations are. If the plane has not left the gate and somebody refused to wear a mask, we will return to the gate. In extreme circumstances where guests continue to ignore our warnings, that plane will return to its point of destination. But I think the most significant change is that now we will let those guests who are in willful non-compliance know that they will be suspended from flying. And that's a very significant change. And if somebody decides to take that risk, they won't be flying for the next 12 months.
You know, we've all seen the extraordinary video, particularly it seems from the United States.
Hey, sir, everybody got on masks, man.
And particularly at stores of people who are defiant when it comes to masks, who refuse to use masks. Have you had issues at WestJet over the last few months with people defiant about masks?
Of the 750,000 guests that we've carried over the last 6 months, we've had 30 examples to date of non-compliance. Now, if you decide to be in non-compliance, you're going to be paying that price for at least the next 12 months. So we haven't seen many instances, and we want to act before those instances start becoming more prevalent.
Almost exactly a year ago, I was at your headquarters in Calgary, and one of the places I was in was that operations center and saw the computers that were tracking every single flight. It was an extraordinary thing to watch. But equally extraordinary must be what that room has looked like over the last few months as flight after flight after flight has either been canceled or in some cases virtually empty. What have the last few months been like at headquarters?
Well, interestingly, it's been busy in a number of different areas. We mounted a significant number of repatriation flights, bringing Canadians back from South America, from Central America, from other parts of the world where Canadians were stranded. We've continued to operate to all 38 Canadian cities that we flew, maybe some only being serviced once or twice a week, but in most other instances with a daily operation. So we've never really ceased operation. We've just been maintaining what we'd call a skeleton and a smaller scale operation. So that's kept us busy. We've also, unfortunately, been going through this very drastic reorganizational change. At one point, we'd stood 10,000 WestJetters down, and unfortunately, we had to make 4,000 of those 10,000 permanent reductions. So some of the work hasn't been the most positive work. Some of it has been about ensuring that WestJet bounces back as competitive as we've ever been over the course of our last 24 years.
A year ago, we were talking about a different kind of crisis in aviation. Had no idea the pandemic was coming, but that was the 737 MAXs. Where are we at now with bringing the MAXs back into service?
One of the few silver linings of COVID is it's put some of those other crises in a sense of perspective. I think there's a realistic prospect that we will go the rest of this year without the MAX back in service, which will be almost effectively 21 months since Transport Canada closed Canadian airspace to the MAX. In the meantime, we have been going through an extraordinarily rigorous program of checks, of test flying, of re-simulation of some of the challenges that the MAX has had. When the MAX comes back into service, it will be the safest aircraft that will ever have flown. It will have gone through so many safety checks, not just on the MCAS system at the heart of the concerns expressed by the 4 major regulators around the world, but in terms of its overall airworthiness.
So Transport Canada is doing some testing this very week with Boeing. What's your best guess on when WestJet will be flying the MAX 8s again?
I think we'll be flying the MAX 8s post-Christmas. That's my best estimate at the moment. I'd love to think it could be earlier than that. And my view, and what I'm looking forward to over the course of the next 6 months, is getting back to having the MAX 8 and the Boeing 787 operating in harmony again.
I know it's difficult to predict the future when it comes to COVID, but what is your view of what the next few months or even next couple of years look like for WestJet?
The next stage is really building the 6-month schedule to Christmas and beyond, because Christmas is obviously a critical peak season for us, and we want to start operating more of our 787s. We've currently got 6, and we're looking to put those back up in the air and rebuild what we'd call a more normal schedule. And then as we look out to summer 2021, we believe we'll be operating somewhere between around 50, maybe even 60% of our previous capacity. And that's the stage that we can actually look to start to introduce new routes and start using the MAX 8 aircraft for its original purpose, fuel efficiency and longer range.
Now let me finish with this. Think back, if you can, it seems like forever, 7 months ago, what your airline was like then. Do you think you're going to get back to that?
We will. We will, have no doubt at all. We will get back to pre-COVID levels. What I can't predict is exactly the timescale, but I'm feeling more confident than ever that this country needs what we bring. In our time, in our 24 years, we've halved the price of air travel and we've doubled the number of Canadians who travel domestically, and that's our purpose.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ian.
And as I mentioned in that interview, a team from Transport Canada was at Boeing this week for some MAX 8 testing. It's now analyzing those results. And today, the Transport Minister, Marc Garneau, issued a statement saying Transport Canada will not lift the flight restrictions on the Boeing 737 MAX 8 until the department is fully satisfied that all safety concerns have been addressed and that enhanced flight crew procedures and training are in place. Next on The National, the pandemic adds fuel to a dangerous crime.
Okay, here we go. They're setting up. And
there they go.
A spike in street racing across Ontario. Now police are cracking down.
For the latest coronavirus pandemic updates, breaking news, and top stories,
we know what we need to do to turn this surge around.
download the CBC News app now.
The pandemic has meant emptier roads, especially in those early days. And that's created the conditions for dangerous and illegal activity. Stunt driving has increased dramatically in the Toronto area. Natalie Nanowski looks at how police are cracking down.
Okay, here we go. They're setting up. And
there you go.
What you're seeing is a street race captured by York Regional Police. And here's one we filmed in Peel. People ducking out seconds after we arrive. Street racing is up all across Ontario since the pandemic began. With less people on the road, those looking for a thrill are taking to the streets, and that's causing a lot of problems, especially for those living by major arteries.
Like having a Boeing 747 land in your bedroom.
Through April and May and into June, we certainly were getting a lot of aggressive driving complaints, even throughout middays when you wouldn't normally have any open lanes to have that kind of speed achieved.
Toronto police gave out 443 stunt driving tickets between mid-March and June. That's a 357% increase from the same time last year. January and February started off quietly in Peel with a decrease in tickets. Then between March and August, a 26% increase. In July, York Region cracked down on stunt driving. That led to 20 charges and 13 arrests.
We've issued so many tickets since May, and we just hope the public is
aware of what we're doing.
Often they're out patrolling parking lots, looking for large gatherings. These past few months, there's been some big seizures, expensive cars impounded.
Parking spot, let me just get the address.
Suspects tracked to their homes and arrested, motorbikes taken away. Stunt driving ranges from traveling 50 kilometers over the speed limit to racing or drifting in a parking lot. Now that traffic has picked back up in the GTA, stunt driving numbers are down a bit, but police are warning drivers if you're heading out to perform stunts, you could lose your license, lose your car, and you could face hefty fines. Natalie Danowski, CBC News, Toronto.
Next on The National, you'll meet a Canadian who had to pivot during the pandemic. An acclaimed potter decided to cook up a new plan and reinvent himself in the face of COVID-19.
Hip-hop's journey into mainstream dominance and the man who helped shape it. This is Not a Drake podcast, now available on CBC Listen or wherever you get your podcasts.
The pandemic has forced many Canadians to reinvent themselves from where they work to what they do. Take the example of the man you're about to meet, an acclaimed potter who's gone from throwing clay to baking cakes. Nick Purdon introduces us.
It's all new and it's full of potential. It's satisfying that need that I have and that habit of making things.
This is a story about how the pandemic gave Bill Reddick a chance at a new life and how he went for it.
There's just unknown possibilities there's with where this could go, and it's just so much fun. This is Canada's official state dinnerware.
Until a few months ago, Bill was a potter. In fact, he was one of the most famous potters in the country.
These plates reside at Rideau Hall and are used whenever a world leader is being served over the past 15 years.
Well, it might be surprising that Canada even has official state dinnerware.
These are...
What's more surprising is that the potter that rose that high still couldn't make ends meet.
I don't own a car. I don't have any savings. I don't own anything. It's tough. It is really tough. I make something that nobody needs at prices no one can afford.
For Bill, it was difficult enough to make a living as a potter, and then COVID hit. Galleries closed, art shows dried up. There was nowhere for him to sell his pottery.
That's where I was at, and it stopped right there. I just thought, I'm finished. You know, I just don't have the resources to carry myself through. My house that we're renting with a hope to buy will go. Like everything will go.
But in the crisis, Bill was able to see an opportunity. He had a chance to reinvent himself.
I was free to explore something that I know had a lot of potential, and also had this potential of providing me with a living, which the pottery couldn't possibly do.
That something was cake, and not just any cake. Bill turned to a memory from his childhood.
It's because of a craving I had for a slice of cake that my mom used to buy in the 1960s. It was called the French chocolate square. It was 85 cents, and I was literally addicted to it. This fudge icing is really the whole reason I'm doing this. Magnificent fudgy dark icing. It's made with just cocoa, sugar, and water.
How has your life changed since you started doing the cakes?
I'm just a lot happier. I'm as happy as I've been with my pottery in the past. It's the excitement of something new. This is the first coat.
And just a few months into his new life, he's selling cakes, but he's not exactly where he wants to be just yet.
So there's a finished cake. I want to be able to sell 40 or 50 cakes a week because I can do that myself. And that would be enough to change my life. I don't have a goal to make it into a big business.
At $50 a cake, Bill figures he can support himself. He ships his cakes all over the country. And he hasn't made pottery in months.
I'm surprised how I simply don't miss making pottery. Like, I just don't. What we're going to do now is go on to the next stage, the final stage, which is icing the top. I'm really having a great time. I'm happy. I mean, I have to apologize to the rest of the world. This COVID period has been a very happy period for me.
None of us will be the same when the pandemic is over. There will always be before and after COVID in our lives. As for Bill, well,
I don't think I'll go back to my old life. I'm going to carry on with the cake. It's going to be a new way of doing things.
Mick Purdon, CBC News, Peterborough, Ontario.
Really want to order one of those right now. Time for a quick break. The Moment is next. Long lines at the opening of a Costco unlike any other in Canada. We'll be right back.
Auditioning for the new season of Family Feud is now easier than ever.
I'm getting excited.
Try out from the comfort of your home. Apply today and join us for Family Feud.
Here's a North American first. Today, the First Nation of Sutuna marked the opening of the first Costco to be built on a First Nation. Located just outside of Calgary, dozens of shoppers were lined up at dawn. First Nations members say they're excited about the opportunities, and so this is our moment.
I declare this Costco now open. This is a dream that we've been working on since the 1990s, and it is now fulfilled. This is a celebration for Sutuna people, its neighbors, and our council.
I think more than anything, it'll open up this community to people.
We're a friendly community out here, you know, and we've been beside Calgary for how long?
We really welcome Costco, and we really want to see success for you and for our community.
You know, all of that is a reminder of something you probably don't think about very often, right? How a store, even a big box warehouse store, can be a community in and of itself and draw people from all around the area and also create jobs and lineups and free samples. Well, maybe not free samples now, but anyway, I go on. That is the National for August 28th. I'll see you on Sunday night.